Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute, but I needed a good vacation, so I took one. And right at the end, my granddaughter gave me the crud, and that knocked me out for a little bit. And then now I'm in the middle of a heat wave here, so it's hot. There's no AC out here, so I'm just doing what I can. So wanted to get back onto the wiring harness, but I got my drive shaft that just came in. Okay, like I said, the drive shaft is here, so I used some Eastwood detail gray. You always see those things are always painted gloss black, and I just wanted to highlight it a little bit. So just chose something a little bit lighter for that. Kind of gives it a raw steel look. Thought it'd be kind of cool. So anyway, so I'm going to get that in, and then I'm going to play around with the shifter cable bracket that bolts onto the transmission pan, bolts and kind of puts the cable in place. And I've got the old 200 4R and the Turbo 400 one. Neither of them really fit right, so I'm going to have to cut them in half and put those two together and kind of make something. So we'll see what we get out of that. So let me turn this camera around and we'll get going. Okay, so before the drive shaft goes in, I'm going to put on this Kirban Driveshaft Loop. On the G bodies, there's a flat piece of metal that just goes right across here to either side the bottom of the floor, and this heavy duty piece you can just bolt right in. Works perfect. So let me get that thing up. I was a little too difficult to film and get this thing in. It was a little bit of a hassle, but there it is. Let's get it around to the front. Nice. I like that. So now it's got a drive shaft loop in the front, which is very nice. It's going to keep that thing protected. Just in case something happens, it's not going to decide to turn my car into a pogo stick and flip me up, so I like that. I might even try to put a loop on the back somewhere. We'll see about that. It is hot. I need to get out from underneath this car. I'm a puddle of sweat. All right, so with the drive shaft in, I figure what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hook up the shifter cable to the shifter, which is actually already hooked to, and then down to the transmission. And then that way, if I roll this thing around, I actually put it in park, and the parking pawl will actually keep the thing where it's supposed to be. So I've got the bracket that you would use for 204R, and I cut that up. And then I had this laying around. This is actually, well, it was on there, something like that. But it's, I had a Quicksilver in like an 85 Impala. It's an ex-state police car. It's a fun car to have. It had a 350 in it. And I put a Quicksilver shifter in that. And it came with a bunch of, it was like one of those generic units, and it came with a bunch of different brackets. And I just had this one laying in a bench somewhere. And I'm going to use this because this is the bolt pattern for the 400, which is farther apart than on the 200. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to mate the two together so I can actually get this cable to work in the car, because the that's the hole for, I guess, like your generic cable shifter that will come with like a B&M kit. It comes with its own cable, and it basically just goes through the hole and you thread something on and holds it in place. Well, on the stock shifter, you've ut this thing here, and there's a clip that goes on. This is way bigger. So I'm just going to glue these two together with my welder, and then put it back under the car, and we'll go through the gears and make sure everything works right. So that's next. So there it is, kind of an oddball shape. I'll probably put, where's this piece? So on the back end, where it's just kind of like all this is hanging out here, I think what I might do is actually take this and cut a little piece off and weld it on, and that'll give it a little extra structure, so there'll be a little something to bridge this gap between here and here and just kind of strengthen up this back end. But yeah, that's basically it. All right, let's go put it on the car and actually see if this thing is going to work. I did my best to line it up. I put some marks on it so I knew how to tack this thing together. And then if it works out, then I can just come back and finish doing the rest of the welds. All right, let's go. All right, so there it is bolted in place. And it holds it on quite nicely. Okay, so the end of the shift cable goes in this stud, washer goes on, cotter pin goes through, that holds it in place. So what we're looking for is through all the gears, this would be loose just like this. So if it's jammed up, then I'm gonna have to try to adjust this either forward or backward slightly until we get that for every single gear. That way you don't have your selector shift somewhere in between first and second, which could do some damage to the transmission running it like that. So now I just have to go through the gears. Ignore the mess, please. Oh, I didn't show you this. If you look at the side of the shifter now, you will see that on here there is no more B&M. I had it removed. I will scream from the rooftops that I love B&M Quicksilver shifters, but B&M just never had a relationship with Oldsmobile, not like Hearst did. So I felt like I had to kind of cover that. Who wants a B&M shifter in their 442? Anyway, all right, so I took the cable back out of the eyelet, and what I'm going to do is bring this up into reverse, down into drive. All right, so that is all the way neutral. Can't go out on neutral. Park. All right, so that is all the way in low gear. And what you do is you go back underneath and you check and you make sure that it's free. And then once you have free from the lowest to the highest point, park and first, for mine because it's a reverse valve body, then we'll start checking the gear, all the gears in between. Okay, so we'll take our shift lever. It's all the way in low gear. We're going to check to make sure, oh, that's quite a bit off. All right. That is, yeah, that's not even close. Okay, well, we're going to have to either adjust. That's a little bit off. All right, well, that's why I only tacked it, because I might have to shift this just slightly. Got to figure out a happy medium in between low and in between park. So I had to go back and grind those tacks off and then re-tack it a little bit different. And now we've got low gear and it's sliding on the shaft, no binding. And then let's go ahead and go through the gears. All right, so that is now down in third, lowest it can go. So now we're in second gear, right on the money. All right, that's first gear, same thing. All right, up into neutral, same. Back to drive, up into reverse. Again, same. All right, down into park. Just a wee skosh tight in park. Still not so bad that I can't move it. It's just, it's tight, that's all. But that is all the gears. So now this mess comes out and I weld this thing all the way across and clean up all this bird poop and then weld the other side and get this painted and good to go. All right, let me get out from under here. It is burning hot. I don't know if I've mentioned that. And there it is. Told you I'd weld that little tail onto the back so I can give the whole thing some more support. It's still rough, but a couple coats of primer, a little bit of paint, should be fine. But yeah, happy with that. Whoa, this is hot. Tarzan couldn't take this kind of hot.
Where's that from? Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm dying. This heat wave is just killing me. There's no AC out here. I'm getting too old to be rolling around on the concrete in this kind of heat. Anyway, it's done and in, and now I can move this thing around. I can throw it in park and it'll stay where I put it, and I can take it out of gear and roll this thing where I need to go. So that's good. So I don't have to worry about this thing rolling down the driveway out of my control. That would be bad. So anyway, the next one, we're back onto the wiring harness. I need a shower. This is Hutch from Hutch High Perf. Please subscribe. Don't make me do this for nothing. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope you guys are feeling better than I am right now. So that's all I got. Take care of yourselves. See ya.